Koko offers to negotiate with Eskom funders. They should be educated about labor law, he says. Eskom's embattled head of generation Matshela Koko has offered to assist the power giant in its negotiations with funders who have put his departure from the utility as a precondition to the release of funds to Eskom. Eskom is facing an immediate and severe liquidity crisis that can put the whole country's economy at risk. Koko's offer was made in an email to Eskom board member Professor Mulgapuru Makoba dated January 16. The email followed after discussions were had between the two the previous weekend about Koko's future at Eskom. Koko's legal team released this email as well as a sharp letter from his attorney Aster Ghani to acting Eskom CEO Sean Merritt dated January 23. Fakamani Hodby was appointed acting CEO, replacing Merritt over the weekend. In the letter, Ghani calls on Merritt to inform government that Koko has been exonerated from wrongdoing, is not facing allegations of serious corruption and other acts of impropriety, and call on government to stop its unlawful attacks on Koko's constitutional right to fair labor practice. Koko will on Wednesday appear before the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Public Enterprises, where he is expected to be grilled in the inquiry into failures of governance at Eskom. Koko sent the email in response to an SMS from Makoba dated January 14, which recorded elements of a discussion over the previous weekend that was off the record and without prejudice. From the email, it is clear that Makoba told him the banks have stopped lending money to Eskom because they have a perception that I, Koko, am the face of corruption in Eskom, among other reasons. He says National Treasury supports this view and also refers to a letter from a large group of senior managers to the Eskom board saying Koko's reinstatement after he was found not guilty in a disciplinary hearing is a real liquidity risk to the company. Koko then refers to legal advice he sought. He argues that Eskom charged him despite the fact that law firm Cliff Decker Hoffmeyer and the forensic auditors Conke exonerated him earlier. The utility could not prove its case and Koko's suspension was lifted. He returned to his job on January 8. He says Eskom should point out to its funders that their notion about him is unfounded and premature pending the finalization of the parliamentary inquiry and the Zonto Commission of Inquiry into state capture. Unless Eskom resists this notion, it is party to it, says Koko. I am, of course, available to assist the current interim GCE, Mr. Merritt, as well as the board, in negotiations with the funders, including to dispel their notions that my presence within Eskom is harmful, which notions arise on false and incorrect premises, Koko says. He expresses his concern that should he go, he would be made the scapegoat for state capture allegations against Eskom. He says nobody within Eskom has so far come out to bat on behalf of Eskom to gainsay the many false allegations made in aspersions that have been cast in the parliamentary proceedings. And adds, that task will now fall to me when I testify before the Portfolio Committee next week. Wednesday, January 24. In the attorney's letter sent to Merritt on Tuesday, January 23, his attorney Aster Ghani discloses that Koko has been replaced as head of generation by Willie Matshela until the end of January. He does not explain why. He refers to government's instruction to the new Eskom board appointed days before to replace executives facing allegations of serious corruption and other acts of impropriety, including Mr. Matshela Koko. Ghani says it is unlawful and shocking for Eskom's shareholder to issue instructions to have him dismissed on the basis of allegations. He labels this as in conflict with the rule of law and an attack on his client's rights. Ghani also criticizes Finance Minister Malusi Gigaba, who called on Koko to resign in the interest of the country, and Eskom spokesperson Kilit Fasai's public statement following the resignation of finance head announcing that the Eskom board has had no communication from Koko. He asks on what the expectation of such communication is based. If Eskom wants to terminate Koko's employment, it should act in compliance with the Constitution, the Labor Relations Act and due process, Ghani says. Our client is not willing to simply resign on the basis of unfounded calls that he do so, Ghani states. He vows to fight unlawful demands and intimidation to terminate his employment through all avenues available at law. In the light of the public attacks on Koko, Ghani gave Eskom until 9 o'clock on Wednesday morning to release the 2 documents to the public. If not, he would release it himself, which is how MoneyWeb got hold of it.